my Windows update from last Friday or Tuesday broke my
You're live,
Chrome.
by the way.
That's okay.
And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. Thank you so much for hanging out and waiting for the broadcast. I actually thought Joe may have been dead. That was, I for the first time in a long time, I was really concerned that I may have lost another one.
I'm getting beklemmed. Thank you.
Like, my entire family's dead, and now Joe's going to die.
No, you'll hear about it. You'll hear about it.
I'm checking fucking Facebook, Instagram, looking for your wife's shit.
You didn't check Instagram because you would have seen. However, FSK in the chat room apparently did. He says, "Stop playing with your new toy and start the damn show already."
Motherfucker.
And you said you cared.
All right, guys. 888-659-3727. I thought I checked Instagram. Apparently, I didn't. But I was panicking with common law. And her thing was that she's just not. She doesn't think she has the right dress for a funeral right now, so it'd be bad timing.
That would be, yep, there you go. Got it. What is this going on? Sorry.
It's all right. Guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. God, it's funny. I guess it's a good thing, but it seems like I need a haircut more often now than I used to, meaning that for some reason it's growing faster as I'm getting older, which doesn't really make sense. But I guess that's pretty good.
You're not recovering from your seasonal shed.
Possibly, right? Don't jinx me. Speaking of my hair, and guys, if you're new to the broadcast, you're just listening to the show on iTunes Radio, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, and for the fan who's like, why aren't you updating the show on Spotify and every place else? You know why? Because I'm essentially a one-man show. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the industry that I had to prioritize as opposed to just putting out the on-demand content, which is not good. I understand that. But I cannot trust anybody else to do it because no one really understands this broadcast. I have tried in the past, and I would see segments or parts of the podcast that I'm like, A, why would you leave that in? B, there's a much better way to start the program, to make cuts. It's a whole thing. It's one thing to have the live broadcast and it kind of like out there in perpetuity on Joe's YouTube channel. But it's another thing to get it out there in perpetuity on the Bald Truth stuff. And I don't know if you guys, I'm being a little cryptic, but there are certain reasons why some edits need to be made. So I apologize for that. We're going to make some changes very soon, which I keep saying. But part of the changes are that I'm going to be able to manage my time better because I'm actually bringing somebody in-house to kind of be like my, I guess kind of be like a personal assistant. Personal assistant / masseuse. See, Joe, you're not even listening. You would have laughed at that.
No, I was doing my dramatic slow look up and then look at you over my glasses. Like, seriously?
Yeah. Why not?
You're too impatient, man.
Why not, though? Why can't I have a personal assistant / masseuse? Guys, hey. Phone number. Go ahead.
I was going to say Jeffrey Epstein had a few.
Oh, my God. I'm talking about within the legal age.
Oh, okay. All right.
First of all, they would have to be over 21 so they could at least drink. The phone number is 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. I don't do that. There's no way I'd ever hang out with anybody under the age of 21, even if it's legal. Just no fun.
I have a hard time hanging out with people under 31. You kidding me?
I have to tell you that it's not easy. It's not easy being green. It's not easy being me. But I will,
somebody do it.
But I will tell you this, that I was out after the show on Tuesday, and this is an important hair story. This is a Me Too situation. So, and I think there's a really fucked up double standard here. Now, I'm not claiming that I'm some sort of Brad Pitt by any means, but every once in a while, if there's a woman who's drunk enough, she will come up to me and start to chat me up if I'm alone at having dinner, whatever it is.
If you're drunk enough?
If she's drunk
or
enough.
If
they're drunk enough.
All right.
So in this particular situation, this person was probably about 30, I would say, maybe a little older. I didn't even get to the point where I asked because I was pissed.
Okay.
Comes up to me, sits next to me at the bar, doesn't introduce herself, doesn't even say hello, takes her hand and strokes my hair. Fucking goes for the hair. And I have to tell you, not that I would want this in my life, but that's one time in my life that I wish all those motherfuckers who said that I got a big wig on, I wish that fell off in her hands. It would have freaked her out. But I'm thinking to myself, and it's okay, it wasn't the end of the world, but I'm just like, whoa, lady.
I can imagine.
Come on, forget about the fact that I have issues with the hairspray. The fact that there's this double standard where a woman can come up and touch a guy, and if I were to do that, I'd be in fucking jail if she wanted to press charges.
Yo, me too.
That's right. Me too. I am.
Did you clock her or
no? I was just like, I think you had a couple of drinks. You know, it's not. I forgot what I said, but it ended up like she kind of moved away after I spoke to her, and I know the bartender, and we were just laughing about it. But I was kind of like taken aback, like this is really fucked up. If the shoe was on the other foot, this would not be good. I know every guy in the chat room is like, "Oh, poor Spencer." I'm just talking about the double standard. I'm just talking about what the society that we live in which we live today. If I were to touch a woman's shoulder, a stranger's shoulder,
yeah,
I'd be in fucking trouble.
It is a problem. Absolutely. It's I was reading something about Keanu Reeves. It's like he's being lauded as a hero in this kind of circle because every photo that you see of him where there's a woman next to him, he's got his hands behind his back or in front of him, like he doesn't even touch them in the photos, like fans or anyone.
Because he has to.
He's smart.
He's fucking terrified.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to pull a Joe Biden.
Oh, God.
You know.
Oh, my God.
Who, by the way, whatever your political affiliation is, I do feel bad for the Democrat Party. And it is Democrat Party. It's not Democratic Party.
Yes.
It's a Democrat Party. I don't know if there's much true democracy in the Democrat Party at this point. But whatever. It's their fucking game to lose.
It really is.
And look what's happening. Look who they're putting out up, front and center.
I'll just say this: Joe Biden, when he falls on his face after this and he has no career, not that it matters because he's loaded, but he could be a great spokesman for.
Depends. That's terrible. No,
a great hair transplant clinic, or what was the denture adhesive company?
Honestly, I don't think. Sadly, he is in a position to be a spokesperson for anybody right now. I think that he's gotten to a point where something has definitely, and I get this. I've been there. If I have like 2 days of drinking, I turn into Joe Biden. That's just the way that it is. I cannot remember or complete a sentence half the time. It is, you know, but this guy's on the political stage. This guy's at front and center, and this guy has to, at the very least, express himself quasi-articulately. Articulately.
You said it right. Articulate.
Yeah.
Articulate. See, now I can't say it.
And he's talking about people need to go listen to their record players. And
we're like, what the hell's a record player?
Yeah. And I'm like, man, I feel bad for him.
And then he talks about the ever important.
Right.
See? People don't know what he's talking about.
They don't know what he's talking about. I feel bad for him because there's nothing like being scrutinized the way that he's being scrutinized the way that he's being scrutinized. And they're, you know, he's an older dude that is having issues with recall. And that's for real.
Yeah.
It could just be it could be the pressure. It could be pressure induced. It could be performance anxiety. You know, who knows? But whatever it is.
I think part of it has to do with him being in a very unfamiliar environment. It's not the fact that it's not that he's unfamiliar with being on stage. It's not that he's unfamiliar being in a political race. He's unfamiliar with the arguments and the talking points because they're completely foreign to him.
Yeah.
When he came in, like everyone knows Joe Biden and everyone knows what he stands for. And then when everyone else
I'm fixing my hair while you talk to me. Go ahead.
That's fine. When everyone else was standing for something else that was much more aggressive and even controversial, he's playing catch up, and he doesn't understand. He's talking about subjects that he doesn't get.
Right.
And so he's completely out of his element with these other contestants. With these other
they are contestants, actually. It's
candidates.
It's like a game show.
And they're all trying to outdo each other as well. But poor Joe Biden, it's like it's a completely different world for him. And I think that's part of the reason why he's stuttering, forgetting stuff, because he just doesn't know the material.
If Democrats want to win in any way, shape, or form, they have to let people keep their guns. This is the way that it is. You know, if you're playing politics, this is what you have to do in order to position your pieces where they need to be positioned. And free college education and just kind of like an across-the-board socialized type of healthcare, not going to happen. It's not going to get them to where they want to go. It seems like you're pandering to that voter base.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys aren't even going out to vote. That's it for politics for today. Maybe I should run, actually. Taking a new direction. There's not enough money in it for me, though. Phone number is 888-659-3727. 888-659-3727. However, if I ran on a hair platform, who knows, really?
It would be an interesting run, for sure.
Hey, man, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hey, Spencer, it's Vic from D.C., man.
Hey, Vic, man, what's happening?
Hey, man, I was just listening in, man. It's Spencer Kobren and Joe Tillman for President, Vice President 2020. I'm going to write you guys into the ballot.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, write it in and take a picture.
Yeah.
But, seriously, though, you guys should consider, if not 2020, at least 2024 or something like that.
Dude, are you kidding me? Do you know what kind of shit is going to... I talk about, doing blow and fucking, just drinking and just my past life and all kinds of stuff. Actually, I guess because I've been so open about everything, I guess there's really no skeletons in the closet.
No, but the thing is, if you can be this honest about the hair loss industry, imagine what you could do for the country in terms of straight-up transparency.
Oh, I'd be killed, though.
But here's the thing, Spencer. If you and Joe are this transparent about the hair loss industry, imagine what you do for the pharmaceutical industry, for all the other drugs, for you'd save people millions of dollars on.
But here's the problem with real politics is that you have to politic in order to get yourself in that position. And part of politicking is making concessions, working with these fucked up lobbyists and, dealing with these special interest groups in order for you to position yourself so that you can become the most powerful man in the free world. And in fact, when you think about the power that these guys have, I mean, everyone is in a position, everyone in life, I don't care who you are, has to answer to somebody. That's a fucked up thing. So it is not completely what you think it would be.
So would the president have to answer basically to the people, or I guess the other branches of government?
The president has to answer to his constituency. The president has to answer to his benefactors, exactly. Mm-hmm. And even though there's a president, this particular president is got into office saying that he really has no benefactors, there are political benefactors. It doesn't necessarily have to be financial. So
I hate that.
The reality is, like the person in the chat room says, we are too honest to be in politics. And that is why we don't, or at least I don't do well with the political arm of the ISHRS, because I am too honest, and they do not like that.
Now, what I was going to say is I really don't know if anyone has a chance of beating Trump from the Democratic Party. Anyways, we shouldn't be getting into politics.
No, but that's the truth. I mean, anybody's worried about, everyone's like, they're going to, fucking move or die if Trump is reelected. Well, you better start packing.
Yeah, because I don't know if any of these guys have a chance against Trump.
There's no fucking chance. All you have to do is look at your fucking 401k, or the average person has to look at their 401k, and they'll be like, wait a second, life's not so bad for me.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's always the number one indicator of who's going to win, how the economy is doing. The economy is doing great right now. So if it holds anywhere near where we are a year from now, game over.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if Biden could do a better job economically, but I don't want to get into that. But who knows?
Look.
I think he did.
What did you say?
I said I think he does because he brought it up.
Yeah. Well, here's the reality. We don't want to talk about politics anymore tonight, but the reality is what you see on stage, what you see in front of that camera, the way politicians pander to the voter base, in the end, most of what is being said will never be accomplished. That's just reality. If you look at politics throughout, the centuries, the last 2 centuries, that's just what it is, man. People they used to stand in the back of trains making all types of fucking promises. Come on.
Spencer, one last quick political question for you. I just want your opinion. What are your thoughts on Trump being really good friends with Kim Jong-un?
Do you really think they're really good friends?
It's such a ruse.
Well, I think it might not be 100% real, but
you think they're hanging out? You think they're hanging out, like watching fucking movies together? Smoking pot, having a drink. Well, Trump doesn't drink or smoke.
Dennis Rodman is closer friends with Kim Jong-un than Trump is.
Sure.
Here, this is what I suggest to all of you, especially young guys. There are certain news sources. You can get some decent news out there, but if you're watching either CNBC or Fox, you're basically going to be brainwashed on either end of the spectrum.
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
So we have no clue what's really going on. The only thing that can indicate what's really going on in this country is whether or not we're at war, which we still are, and whether or not our economy is doing well, whether or not jobs have increased, and whether or not certain people still have health care. These are kind of like the markers of political success in the end. And if more people have jobs, if more minorities have jobs, no matter what how crazy someone sounds. And let me tell you something. When I listen to our president, the majority is cringeworthy. Just listening to him speak. That's just,
Is it weird? Is it weird that I find his speeches and tweets funny, and I don't get upset?
No.
No.
Not weird. They are funny. Actually, it is. It's like there's a certain level of entertainment value to it. Where when I watch this guy on television now, I am thoroughly entertained.
Yeah, because anyways, whatever happens. I certainly. I'm not into politics. The only reason I brought it up is because, well, to be honest, I am a little bit, but.
Well, listen, I'm just glad that our president is currently taking Propecia, and allegedly, and I'm and I will tell you this: the fact that he's been dealing with jokes about his hair for decades, this guy could take anything, man. He's made of fucking iron.
Well, there's proof that nothing really phases that guy. I mean, people have been making jokes about his hair for decades now.
Nothing phases that. At least nothing. He's not visibly phased by anything. I mean, the small hands things fucked him up a little bit. That's about it.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. The first lady's hot. Okay, and that's it. That's my last political statement.
Sure she is. And everyone's fucked up about it because she modeled, quasi-nude at one point. So fucking what? If you have those type of assets, it is your duty as a human to show them, in my view.
Speaking of that, Spencer, one of the reasons I called today is I've been getting back.
Your connection is horrible, Vic, by the way.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's a bad connection.
Okay. So I wanted to get your opinion. So we're moving out of politics.
Please.
I'm getting back into shape, and so I have a little bit. I'm afraid there's a little gyno. I'm really I don't want to have to. It's not bad gyno where it's I look like I'm walking around with D cups, but it's
you're not pulling a Tillman or anything.
Tillman?
Oh,
wait,
come on!
I'm just kidding. Okay,
I don't even know. Yeah, so I don't even know. I guess Joe has gyno.
No, he does. He does not have gyno. Joe has the chest of a child. It's like a boy. The guy's in great shape.
Okay, yeah, so I wanted to, do you think that if I get down to about 14, 15, or 12% body fat, it just goes away, or am I still going to have some breast tissue?
I would say that if it's caused by fat and you're young, and you're still pretty young, you'll probably lose it. I mean, I can tell you that I was developing some man boobage, when I was much heavier, and now it's completely gone. And I'm 54 years old. So part of it is, when you have a lot of muscle in your chest and then there's fat over it and you get older, you just you get that old wrestler look. That was starting to happen to me. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. No, I was going to say, is there any way to know for sure without visiting a doctor to know if it's fat or breast tissue?
Well, one way to know is usually most people who suffer with gynecomastia, and again, I'm not a physician, they would be able to feel the glands directly underneath the nipple area. Usually the nipples will become a little slightly hardened and kind of protrude almost in like cone-like shape. And sometimes they're just kind of hard fatty deposits directly under the nipple. In other cases, it's not quite as obvious, and it's almost like an entire development of a breast-like tissue. But in most cases, you will be able to see that and feel it if it's real gyno. Joe?
I've been worried. Yeah, I've been worried.
You'll feel the tenderness even before it starts to develop, from what I understand. Have you felt tenderness at all?
The thing that Spencer said are actually scaring me a bit. I do have, like, right below the nipple, well, not below, but underneath the skin, there is definitely feel like there's a gland. And
well, it actually could be a gland, and could be, you have to also understand that you could have some, breast tissue, both in men and women. You can have kind of like hard deposits and fatty, deposits that kind of feel, like if I really feel around, I can kind of feel some stuff in my pecs, like if I go deep, that are just natural. People just have that shit. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have gyno, but it's an easy thing to check. And luckily, today, gynecologic surgery, when I was a kid, when I was younger, and I knew this one guy who had it, they basically cut you across your chest, and you had these long scars. Now they essentially do it's very small, laparoscopic, practically, well, it is laparoscopic surgery, and some liposuction. So if you do have fatty deposits, it's pretty easy to remove.
Yeah, I agree. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get down to about 10 to 12% body fat where I actually have visible abs. And then if it's like, you know what, I still look like it's not good, at that point I'll decide. Right now I'm at 18% body fat, which is not good.
That's not bad. How old are you?
That's not bad, actually.
I'm about 35.
18% body fat, 35-year-old male. I mean, that's like you'd be in the category of in shape, but like almost athletic.
But I got to tell you, Spencer, when I get off the wagon and I start binging, I could destroy pizzas and calzones and lasagnas and sodas like it's nothing. And then I'll put on like 10 pounds in like 2 days.
You're preaching to the choir, but most of that's water. The majority of that is water. I mean, you're actually bloating yourself. You're introducing a lot of sodium with a lot of carbs and sugar that holds the water in both your muscles and underneath your skin. And that weight could be lost within 2 or 3 days.
It's a horrible feeling, man.
I mean, it looks the same as fat, and in some cases it's uglier because your face gets bloated too. But the reality is, I would say the most people who want to lose weight and look better, within a week, you can significantly change your appearance just by losing water weight, without taking Lasix, purely by diet and drinking a lot of water, not having a lot of sugar, complex carbs, and lowering your salt intake.
I agree, man. I agree. Hey, listen, man, I don't want to take up much time. My last comment, I heard this Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking to this doctor named David Sinclair. And David Sinclair has said that now the they've come up with advanced research where people will be able to live past 100 like it's nothing.
Jeez, that means I got to make more money.
Well, let me just tell you real quick what it's on, and then I'll let you go. So the oldest recorded woman is something about 122, is a lady in Japan or something. And Joe Rogan asks him, he's like, so what are your thoughts on that? And this doctor is like, well, 122 is going to be about average. It's going to be a long life, but it's not going to be a super long life. He's saying that with like all these technologies that are coming out, that FDA still hasn't approved it for anti-aging, but he said eventually you could live well past 100. And they're saying two particular things. NAD boosters,
right,
especially NR and NMN, apparently have insane effects on reprogramming your cells for youthfulness.
Well, I can say this, that I'm already exhausted. I can't even imagine living 122 years. That just seems like a long fucking time.
That's more than twice our ages.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to be around that long.
I mean, I guess it depends on how functional you are. And I mean, I saw this guy who's 112 years old who's on the news recently. He's like a a White Sox fan, and he was this black guy who was essentially, I mean, his parents were slaves. This guy was born in like 1907 or some shit.
Holy crap.
And he's 112 years old, and they're kind of like wheeling him around, and he's got his White Sox hat on, and he's a fan. And, you know, they talk to this poor guy like he's a 4-year-old, because that's what happens eventually. And I just don't know if I want to get to that point. But I mean, who knows? Like, if I still have wood and I look okay and I have interest, you know, I'm enjoying life to some degree, you know, and I'm part bionic and I got some new parts going on, you know, maybe I would.
I just want to upload my consciousness.
Yeah, but the problem is then you have someone controlling it. That's what scares the shit out of me. And then you're stuck in this world.
No, I'm controlling them.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to put that out there because a lot of your show is about appearance, and so basically these people who are old as heck. This doctor is in his 50s. He looks like he's not a day past 30. So
yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I wanted to put that out there.
Well, listen, man, I'm into it, and I'm going to start doing some shit. I don't know what it's going to be, but you know. I do research myself, and I think the key is really, honestly, in my experience, just from being like a binge eater and drinker to like really sticking to strong intermittent fasting, it's life-changing, man. Fucking life-changing.
Oh, yeah.
I feel younger. I'm stronger than I've been in a long time. For the most part, I mean, people comment on how youthful I appear, especially in person, and I think it's all diet and diet restriction.
I agree, man. IF, if you do IF and cut out sugar, it's like you're a new person.
Yeah. Well, listen, Vic, always a pleasure hearing from you. We're going to take some more calls.
Hey, thanks, man.
All right, man. You're the
hope
best.
You and Joe have a great day.
We will. We'll do our best, man. Thanks a lot. You take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Take care, man.
All right. Guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. We are the Hair Loss Show, so if you want to talk about hair loss, if you have any questions or concerns about hair loss, this is your safe place. You know, apparently we, as we do every week, we saved another life. And this is not to pat ourselves on the back. This is really the value and the importance of this broadcast. Someone who really was not a candidate for hair transplant surgery. And she called in a couple of weeks ago. I know Joe wanted to give an update about her, what was happening with her.
Yeah, and it was an interesting case because she contacted me. It was just a few days before last week's show, and yes, it was about a week and a half ago. And she's asking me some questions about surgery and hairlines and stuff. And turns out she already had booked surgery with a clinic in Norway, and didn't find that out until she actually called the show last Friday. And so just a quick summary of her case. She was like in her late 20s. I think she was like 26, 27. Pretty much had her full head of hair. There's no recession going on. There's no thinning going on. She had a natural shape to her hairline that had a little bit of an indentation in the temples. I don't want to say recession because that denotes loss. There was no recession. It was just more of an M-shaped hairline as opposed to a U-shaped hairline that a lot of females have. And so she called into the show. I'll put the link down in the description later on if you're watching this after we're live. And she spoke to Spencer and myself for a while, and Spencer was able to look at her images on her YouTube channel because she has opera videos that she puts out. She's a singer, and he was like, yeah, you're not a candidate for this. And long story short, she went back to the clinic the next day. She was scheduled the next day to finally meet the doctor and have surgery. So there's some red flags with what she was telling us. Like, she had never met the doctor, and it was only a consultant, and she was expected to have surgery the next day after meeting the doctor and after, talking about what should have been talked about in her initial consultation. So she went in, she had her meeting with the doctor, and she asked some good questions, according to her, what she told me later on, and she canceled the surgery. So they said, no problem. Thanks for coming in. And then within 2 days, she got hit with a bill for 75% of what the procedure cost would have been had she gone through with it. Now, she sent me some numbers, and I was really floored at what the numbers were. I thought she was talking in euros, but I didn't realize until later on that in Norway they're not using euros; they're using krones or kronens, I think, kronens. And so when she told me it was 58,058,000, I thought she was talking euros. She thought it was going to be 5,000 to 8,000 euros. No, it was kronens, which 58,000 kronens equates to about 7,000 or 8,000 US dollars. So that's a big relief. But they wanted 75% of that. So she got an attorney. All this happened in the past week. She got an attorney. The attorneys went to bat for her, and she was asking me some questions to verify some facts about what this clinic was doing. So they went to bat and came back away with less than a $1,000 settlement. So the patient wound up paying them about $900 US for canceling at the last minute. And what's interesting about this is that in Norway, apparently you don't need a contract. You don't need to sign anything. It's all verbal. Not all verbal, but a verbal agreement is as good as a signed contract. Now, I understand the premise of that in some situations. I don't agree that that should be the case. It might not even be the case for medical agreements, because a medical procedure, I think, supersedes the authority of any contract. If the patient's not informed, if information that's being given is fraudulent or inaccurate, no contract should be able to should be in a position to bind any patient to go through with a surgical procedure. Regardless, she's happy with the outcome, and she told me that she learned a lot about herself this past week, and she admitted that her hairline issue was more of an inconvenience and an annoyance than a real need. And she said that the way that this clinic passed off the procedure, she thought it was just a simple outpatient procedure like having a mole removed. And she asked me to thank you, Spencer, for your help, and of course she thanked me for my help.
Tell her to give me a call.
I asked her to call in the show, but she didn't respond for this. But that's the update. She was able to get out of it, but only after paying $900 as a penalty. So,
well, I mean, in most cases, people would put
the best money she's ever lost.
Yeah, in most cases, you have to put a deposit down for your surgery anyway. So, I mean, It is definitely the best money she ever lost, and her life would have been, it would have been irrevocably changed for the worse.
Yeah,
she would not have been able to function, I believe, normally in this world without having to cover up a man-made fucked up hairline.
But the difference between the future versus now is that she covers up her temples because she just doesn't like the way they look.
Right.
In the future, she'd have to cover them up because it would be advertising that she got screwed up and she made a bad decision.
And right now, if the wind blows, no one is going to think there's anything going on with her hairline.
Yeah.
Whereas she's stuck. She would be stuck, and she'd be out a lot of money. And the fact that they were even going to do FUE on her is amazing to me. It really shows how backwards this entire field has become.
Yeah.
You know, I was actually speaking to a physician today. Now, what a lot of people don't know, and I think I discussed this before, we did discuss it. State of California, State Medical Board of California just put out a declaration making it clear with the actual specific language that it is illegal for people who are not physicians, who don't have the legal right to perform surgery, to perform any type of hair transplant surgery, the actual surgical aspects of surgery, meaning dissection of grafts that is being done on a regular basis now by hair transplant techs. You understand that even the best technician, there's really no certification process. If a company claims that they have certified technicians to use a certain device, that doesn't mean anything. There's no accredited certification.
Right.
No legitimate accredited certification for hair transplant technicians. Now, that's not to say that there aren't incredible hair transplant technicians out there that would do better jobs than doctors, that have more time on tissue. I guess my point is, we weren't really sure how everything transpired and how this particular declaration in this state got accomplished. Well, I found out today it was accomplished by one person. And that everything that the ISHRS has been trying to do has failed. And this one individual was able to make this happen. And it was played out in a very smart way.
Wow. Interesting.
So with that said, I'm on Instagram. It was yesterday, day before yesterday. I follow a lot of plastic surgeons, and there is a board-certified plastic surgeon that showed a case. I'm not going to give out the numbers because I don't want to be specific. It was a guy's regular hair transplant, and he gave a shout-out to the technician who performed the hair transplant. Now, this is a doctor in the state of California. So it doesn't really seem like it's going to do much if these guys are willing to advertise and give a shout out to a technician who performed the surgery under the auspices of his license. So I think the key is to let California residents know who are considering hair transplants know that, hey, look, you want a free hair transplant, go to one of these guys. Just make sure their techs are good.
Yeah, and then call them out.
And then call them out because it'll be free. Because what they are doing is illegal. It's aiding and abetting the practice of medicine without a license. And frankly, the technicians, what they're doing is illegal now, at least here in the state of California. It doesn't mean you're going to get a bad hair transplant.
No.
It just
means
means
a free one.
It does mean that you could probably get a free one. And I'm not condoning that.
You still got to have the money up front.
Yeah. Yeah, basically it would be a refund. No, but I'm not condoning that. But I really believe that there's going to be a lot of, first of all, a lot of people think that way anyway. There's a lot of fucked up people in this world. There's a lot of young guys who are like, wait a second, you mean I don't have to travel to Turkey to get a cheap hair transplant? I can get it for free here in the U.S. if I travel to California. Because what they are doing is illegal.
That would do more to shut down all these clinics than anything anyone else could have ever imagined.
Absolutely. I was talking about that with this particular doctor, and he's like, that is fucking brilliant. Now, I didn't come up with that initial thought. This was another doctor who was telling me, like, look, these doctors are going to end up being extorted by these patients. And I'm like, it's really not extortion if what they're doing is illegal. It's more of a suggestion.
Yeah.
Like, I just found out that what I had done to me is illegal, and I would like my money back. What's the guy going to say? No?
I would love to be a fly on any wall where that conversation is being had. Hell, I'd just like to be sitting on the chair. Bring me in, just so I can listen.
I think there's a cottage industry right there for us. We just
I only ask 30%.
I would take 50%. You just take 50%, guide them in the right direction. I will make sure that they have legal counsel. 50%. I would probably do about $100,000 a month easily.
Easy. Yeah. That's hilarious. It really is.
It's got a little side hustle, Joe. I mean, you're a consumer advocate.
I'm a consumer advocate. It's time to get paid.
Yeah, time to get paid, motherfuckers. Guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. Just realize that this is a really repugnant, dirty, disgusting industry. The vast majority of those who are in this field, who are hanging up a shingle, saying that they're hair transplant specialists, are now offering, deals on, get 3 PRP sessions and a laser cap for $3,500.
Yeah.
This world is going fucking mad.
Had a great comment on a recent video I did about the Try Guys. Guy said that he went to the same doctor, and finasteride was recommended, S&P was recommended, and a surgery. And the patient said that he decided to only do the finasteride, and 4 months later, he went back into the same clinic, and the doc said, "Yeah, you don't need surgery. You're having a great response."
Yeah. There you go.
4 months later. So all this guy had to do was wait 4 months, and he saved himself $15,000.
Sure. And a lot of possible, just a horrible experience.
Potentially. Yeah.
Potentially.
We're doing some good here. We're doing some good.
Yeah, but no one gives a shit. People thank us. That's all. It's funny. I get a lot of thank yous and, a lot of people writing me heartfelt letters. Show me the money, guys. No, really, we should. I was thinking about this. We should do some sort of a GoFundMe, or a Patreon or something, and let these guys fucking, invest in what we're doing for them. I've always given away everything for free my entire career for over 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it time we got something back? Because Daddy wants to retire.
I can never argue against that. Ever.
Because, yeah, I'm thinking about it. It's either you guys do it or I'm out there for my last hurrah. You're going to see me on television selling fucking laser caps.
Introduced by Ronco.
Whatever. Yeah. I will team up with like Guthrie Ranker. They will have the best laser cap on the market.
I like that.
And we will fucking crush it.
What's the late night shopping channel? What's it
dude,
called?
I actually know someone who knows a really big person at the Home Shopping Network, or CV, the other one. Huge. I mean, she's like a staple, huge figure in this whole like selling makeup and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
She's always like, you could do whatever you want in the hair world.
Morty's in the chat room. I'm sitting here watching you guys with my laser cap on.
Yeah, with this Chinese laser cap. I can go out there, and I know that other companies have gone on like Home Shopping Channel and sold these laser caps. I can go on there, fucking wear this thing on my fucking head like an idiot, say that I use it because I'll start using it. I don't give a fuck. And we will sell them hand over fist. And we sell out everybody. Everybody in the market. Lexington International, Capillas, all these guys. So why don't I do it? I'm struggling with you guys publicly about this. I'm like, what's the difference really at this point? We're still helping people.
It's true. That is true.
You know why? Because these guys who are watching and listening, they love the show. They're big fans.
They are.
But would they give $20 a month to be a part of this?
See, Soren says, I agree with a Patreon account. You're not selling or advertising anything. It's just a way for people who feel they were helped by you guys in any way to support you back.
But
I agree.
But here's the sad thing. This is what will happen. We'll make like $15 from a Patreon account. That's how these guys. It's all. I mean, it's a weird thing, man. It's a weird fucking thing. These guys.
That'll be $750 divided by 2 guys and one sharing their Patreon entry code with the other.
Right. Oh, God. Yeah, $1 per Patreon. Yeah, I would do it if I didn't think it would be so embarrassing because it's public. And I'd be embarrassed for you guys, not for me. But if I didn't see that, I would definitely start a Patreon page.
I will tell you this. I've seen some other hair-related YouTubers try to start their own Patreon, flat on their face.
Yeah.
Absolutely flat on their face. I don't think that I don't think the audience is there. I think that, unfortunately, most of our fans are cheap motherfuckers.
Yes. And speaking of cheap,
surgery.
Yeah, speaking of cheap motherfuckers, at least give us some of your time. We're here live. Otherwise, I'm just going to call it a day. We have all lines open. Now there are a lot of lines because we added lines to the broadcast. Usually they're full, but now they're open. So call us, 888-659-3727. If I don't get a call in the next minute, we are calling the show.
Saying the timer now.
So the phone number is 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. Feel free to call the program to ask us about anything and everything hair loss. We do this show live so that we can have live content that you guys can interact with us. But it would be much easier for Joe and I just to do a podcast, put it out there for public consumption and on demand. And frankly, it would be a lot less stressful.
It really would be, because we can do it on our time.
On our time.
30 seconds to go, people.
All the lights are lit. Let's take a call.
Okay.
Hey, you're on the air. Thank you for calling. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hello, boys. It's Rolando from UK.
Oh, hey, man. How are you?
Yeah, all good. I just noticed nobody's calling in, so I decided just to have a quick chat.
I'm glad you did.
Got a couple of questions. Not super important. Maybe for someone will be. Good old Propecia. So, if you guys remember, I started a couple of months ago on finasteride, but I was like microdosing, cutting 1 milligram pill in quarters, and just taking it like twice a week for the first 2-3 weeks. And I already seen straight away like a little bit of results. Like I seen straight away as soon as I took the first pill, like some hairs that like on the places where it was bald, some hairs started to grow, which was kind of surprising.
It's pretty surprising to me too,
yeah,
because
so
it's actually impossible for that to happen. But after one pill,
I swear it was just. I mean, I'm not delusional.
Oh,
Anyways,
listen, I believe you. I mean that should definitely. I believe that you believe that. But that should definitely be like one for the books. That should be in some sort of medical journal.
Good. Anyway, so I upped my dosage a little bit. I started using half a pill of 1 milligram 3 times a week for like around 6 weeks. No side effects, and still keep seeing some more results on the different places. Like started literally sprouting like little tiny hairs, which again is a good thing. And obviously, I'm still considering hair transplant. I'm on Norwood 5 right now, diffused, and all the doctors that I'm contacting them, they just pretty much all of them keep telling me you have to start a full dose, 1 milligram every day. It's like the half dose is not enough. And actually, sorry, I forgot to mention, later that I started having half milligram every single day. So again, no side effect, everything is good, everything looks alright, growing, but doctors keep pushing that 1 milligram. I was just wondering, is it like is it really necessary to go full dose, or even if I see on that dose is working?
We're not doctors. Wait a second. You just said yes, that it's necessary to go on a full dose. You said, Joe.
Based on everything I've read, experienced, people I've spoken to, doctors I work with, doctors I've talked to, according to them, yes. In my opinion, even though I'm not a doctor, yeah.
I can give you my opinion. My opinion is I have known people who were satisfied with a lower dosage and still stayed on that lower dosage for a very long period of time with satisfactory results. Is more better for that particular person? We don't really know. I like the idea, and again, I'm not a physician, of having some leeway. That if you see that results are declining over time, or that, maybe the cessation of your hair loss is kind of like not what it was, and, you're starting to see a little bit more hair loss again, that you still have room to up your dosage. And, this percentage, or this, percentage of milligrams have been in your body for a long period of time. Upping your dosage may not cause any adverse side effects. But again, doctors are not incorrect. We know, at least clinically, that the 1 milligram dose daily seems to have be tremendously efficacious and work consistently well. So, but I take 5 milligrams once a week. So I'm an anomaly, I guess.
Yeah. Well, actually, today I actually decided to give it a go. I got 1 milligram full dose in the morning, and you will never believe what happened. And nothing happened.
Yeah, nothing happened. Yeah,
everything works perfectly.
Yeah,
nothing happened. Didn't fall off. Feeling great.
That's great.
Probably gonna keep doing it, and we'll see. But so far been a little bit more than 2 months. But I swear, like, my hair is just like, I never thought it's even possible to just grow so fast, like all over the scalp. So I'm super positive in it. Although, a couple of weeks ago, say again, yeah?
I said, wow, when you're talking about your hair is growing all over your scalp, so good for you.
No, really, yeah, I'm very impressed because I'm Noro 5 diffused, and it started to grow pretty much everywhere. Obviously, the hairline, the actual line will not grow out, but I see it everywhere. So, good for me, I guess. And a couple of weeks ago I noticed, because I'm using minoxidil as well for the last 9 months already. So, and I noticed a couple of weeks ago that I actually had a little bit of shed in one part of the mid-scalp, a bit crown, but only one side, out of nowhere starts to shed. I was thinking, is it finasteride? Shedding the hairs that minoxidil regrew, or I know what are your thoughts on it?
Did you say that you slowed down minoxidil?
No, I still keep doing the same with minoxidil.
Anytime you introduce, and again, we're not physicians, but anytime you introduce a new agent or a new chemical or drug into your body that can affect your hair, you're changing the hair cycle. And if you're catching it in an anagen phase, great. If you're catching some of it in a that was going to be in a telogen phase, you can be pushing it faster into a more synchronized telogen phase. It's not unusual to see something that's something like that once you start something new.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I was a bit surprised because in one part it looks like the hairs are getting super thick. Some of them, I swear, they're so small, very, very kinky, but they so thick. It's and very black. It's just so weird. But in some parts, they just I lost the ground. So it was a bit weird for me.
Well,
but I'm pretty confident to go back.
Yeah, I think that it sounds like you're doing okay, and it sounds like whatever you're experiencing is pretty normal. It's just going to be a waiting game, man. And hopefully you get to the point where you're not shedding, and you're just maintaining or growing some hair.
Yeah, the interesting fact that I didn't even know that I'm shedding. It's just I don't even see any hair on the comb or in the shower. It's just such a small amount.
Well,
obviously,
great.
There's a small amount of hair to begin with.
No, but that's great.
But
that's great.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a little tiny, old propitia question.
Well,
Thank you very much, guys.
I appreciate you updating us, and I appreciate you. I like hearing. And how old are you again?
I'm 27.
I like hearing from young guys who are, eventually get the courage to take finasteride, and they are having a decent experience without any adverse side effects. It's important for others to hear that, so it doesn't just sound like me and Joe are fucking lunatics telling everybody, how effective this drug can be. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that was the reason actually why I call in, because I see not many people are actually talking about it. So kind of to encourage, because myself, I knew about this drug for like 3-4 years, but I never wanted to start it. So, and then when eventually I started now and I see what actually it can do for me, I was just thinking, what the hell I didn't start it a couple of years ago.
Well,
I wouldn't need any transplant maybe.
That's not uncommon. There's a guy online, he's been online forever, who is, he's an interesting cat. But, there was just a story that was put out by Reuters, and it was an investigation into, obviously, Merck has been sued by a couple of class action lawsuits. Everyone thinks class action means it's more important than just a regular lawsuit. All class action means is an attorney or a group of attorneys were like, hey, wait a second, this is a great way for us to make a fucking killing. Let's get all these suckers who think they've been affected by these drugs together.
Yeah.
We'll be able to get a big settlement and take a third of that, and these guys will get shit. That's all a class action lawsuit is. People believe that somehow it's more impactful or it makes the lawsuit more legitimate if it's class action, but it doesn't. So Reuters came out and stating that Merck was able to redact or hide certain aspects of their, what is it called? Well, it's called disclosure, but it's called something else in law, of the information that they had to give to the prosecuting attorneys about their knowledge of long-term side effects during their clinical trials. And if you really read it and look at it, and there's some of it that's still redacted that you can't see, it's really nothing different except for one case that I was able to read about, and that was they did know that there was at least one person who dropped out of the original clinical trial who appeared to have or experience adverse side effects for at least 60 days after they stopped using the drug. Now, this is one person. Now, I'm not saying that's not important, but it's not as though I believe that they hid the fact that 30% or 40% or 50% of the people that dropped out of the trial had these long-term adverse side effects. All they were able to show, at least according to what I read and understood, was that one person had this. And because they are not obligated by law to include the people that dropped out of the trial as far as side effects once they stopped using the drug, it was their choice not to put that into the clinical trials, which any company in the world would do. They would make that choice. So anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is, there are people out there that will do whatever it takes to ensure that what we say or what guys like yourself say who have had positive experiences with this drug make it look like we are somehow trying to damage people's lives, when in fact we are just relaying our experiences and letting people know that everybody who's on any drug has the possibility of suffering some adverse side effect. It's not unique to Propecia.
Yeah, I would say everyone has to have just a basic common sense and just to identify, who to listen to. I mean, if someone has
that's why at the beginning of my video where I'm talking about Propecia, I'm talking about the side effects. I'm reading the side effects off of the side of a bottle, and it talks about death and Rye syndrome, just all kinds of crazy shit. And it was just extra strength pain reliever.
Right.
It's like, but people pop that
like
it's candy. Don't give a single second thought to what they're doing. But the moment you talk about something affecting your junk, people lose their damn minds, and it's the worst. I've heard people call it poison. That people that talk about its benefits are on the payroll of the manufacturer.
We're shills. We're Merck shills.
Yeah, we're Merck shills. We're being paid by Merck on the back end. It's so.
But you know what I find interesting is what percentage of guys who were part of these so-called questionnaires or trials were taking generic finasteride as opposed to brand name.
Right.
We are finding out that more and more guys who are claiming to suffer these long-term adverse side effects seem to be taking generic as opposed to brand name.
That makes a lot of sense.
So that's a pretty interesting thing. And I was actually just talking to a doctor about that. So at least in clinical practice, that seems to be the case, that the guys who are coming back with the worst adverse side effects seem to be the guys who are taking generics. So that's food for thought.
Yeah, you never know what's in there.
That's right. All right, man, listen, thanks for the call. I'm glad you're doing well.
Just one. Cool. Thank you very much. I just want to quickly address there's like a guy, some just comment about diffuse. Ouch. Just want to clarify, I'm a Norwood 5 scale, but I'm diffusing in the Norwood 5 scale pattern. It means I have got some hairs in there, but they're just like all over miniaturizing. Like my donors, it's actually very good. So, yeah.
All right, man. Well, listen, I'm glad you're doing well. Thanks for the call.
Right, cheers.
Take care.
Have a good night, guys.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, everyone else hung up after that call. So if you want to call back, we'll give you a minute or so to call back, and we'll take another call or two. 888-659-3727. Yeah, I mean, I just think that all of this information is really important. And sadly, you know, people read what they want to read. And they read, you know, especially this last Reuters thing. Listen, the news is they're in the news business. That's it. Yeah. They need to get eyeballs. And it's a sexy story. But the reality is, if you read between the lines, it's nothing that any other company wouldn't have done, which was at least as far as my knowledge is concerned. In my view, everything was conducted legally and in the same professional manner that any other drug company would have conducted their clinical trials. They usually will not follow up after a certain point with those who have decided to drop out of the trial for whatever reason they dropped out. That's just the nature of the game. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm not saying they shouldn't. But you got to understand these companies are trying to get a drug approved and on the market and make their money back. And it's a business. So when everyone talks about big pharma, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of issues. You just have to be aware of what's going on and also realize that, you know, big pharma has saved a lot of lives. Changed people's lives.
Many of us probably wouldn't even be sitting here listening to this podcast. Hell, I might not be sitting here if it wasn't for Big Pharma. I might have caught an infection, or I might have had infections, but and died.
Dude, I could have had fucking polio. You know, that was actually, you know, Salk. He invented that and found made the vaccine and gave it away. So, but whatever, you know, I was born at a time where kids did die at a young age. Fucking rheumatic fever. That's how old I am.
Okay. No calls.
All right, no calls. Let's call it a night. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It was a interesting show, to say the least. Talked a little bit about hair loss. It's always good to hear guys who call in to tell their finasteride stories. Vic from D.C., who is a longtime listener from WJFK Radio in Washington, D.C., Blowtorch station at the time. This was a kid who is considering, or really was planning on having a FUE hair transplant. Just by his description of himself and a few conversations I had with him on the radio at the time, I was able to give him a reality check. He chose not to have surgery, used that money, and spent it on a higher education. And now he's very successful in his life. And that's always a great story. That's one story that makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
Not that you motherfuckers will pay us or anything, but whatever. We'll just keep helping you.
Too, but
what was that?
Not that wouldn't make us feel good too.
Yeah.
But y'all cheap motherfuckers think.
No, I just say that because I do. You know, I ask simple things like follow me on Instagram. Like, come on, motherfuckers, follow me on Instagram at Spencer Kobren. It takes nothing. You can set up a phony account. You don't have to be connected to the hair loss guy. I know it's embarrassing for most of you guys, but it would help a lot of people. That's all we fucking ask. Do shit like that. Subscribe to youtube.com/hair transplant mentor. That's Joe Tillman's personal page. Get that thing over 20,000, 30,000 subscribers. Not a hard thing to do. Ring the fucking bell. Subscribe to the show. Ring the bell. You'll get notified.
Hit the like button at least.
Yeah, just do it.
You're here.
You want to take a call?
What time is it? 3:28. We got a 20-minute late start, so we've been on for an hour and 8 minutes. Okay.
All right, let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Yeah, is it me?
It's you.
Okay, hi. This is Nick from New York.
Hey, Nick, what's happening, man?
Pretty good, pretty good. Just wanted to update you guys. I've been back on finasteride again.
Okay.
Okay, good.
We're close to 60 days now.
And how's that working? And how are you doing? Yeah.
It seems like it's working very well again. I was on it for a long time, and then I quit. And then the hair loss started aggressively diffusing.
Mm-hmm.
So, back on it for the last 60 days, and already I'm noticing a difference.
That's great, man.
Very cool.
I was planning on switching to topical because the libido was a little... and I did get my supplies today.
So let me...
Came in like a gel form.
You're doing well, but you're saying you're having libido issues.
Yeah, libido issues, you know, like...
Meaning,
at the gym, I see like a young girl, and I don't get like the sensations.
Now, are you thinking about it? I mean, what sensation? I mean, sensations like what? Like you don't get a fucking hard on?
You kind of like, you know, you see like a hot girl and you get horny, and there's like a mind-penis connection. And
now, what about when you try yourself? Any issues?
What do you mean when I try myself?
When you fucking jerk off, man. What do you mean? What do I mean?
Oh, that seems to go down the toilet too. Like I don't want to mess around. Like unless I.
Dude, so is it the desire to do something or the ability to do something? Which is it? Or both?
Probably the desire. The desire.
The desire. Okay. All right. So you've had a decreased desire, and that's after 60 days? Like when did this start?
No, usually all of last year I was experimenting, and I realized after day 1 or 2, like it stops, like the sensation, and then if I stop it, like within 10, 14 days, it returns.
Okay. How long were you taking it
for? Around 15 years.
Okay.
All right. So how were you doing before on the drug, libido-wise?
I guess, again, I started when I was younger, like 29. I didn't really notice anything. So, and then, as you know, like, you're not consumed by sex all day or, you know, libido or stuff like that, you know.
I don't know that.
Life is life, and it's, you know.
I think about sex probably about every 20 seconds in some form or another.
So, yeah, it's not like I'm a horn dog all the time, and like, you know, I have to, you know, it's like, you know, life goes on, and, you know, when it comes to that aspect.
I'm looking at the strip club website as we speak. Like, who the fuck is working tonight?
He's wondering when the buffet starts.
Yeah. Get out early. Nothing like a day girl stripper.
Nothing like having a buffet at a strip club.
Yeah. It's the fucking best. Listen, man, I don't mean to be too light about your situation. I totally understand, and a lot could be going on. Now, I didn't ask you this: are you on brand name or on generic?
Generic.
Generic. Okay. So when you were taking it for 15 years, were you on brand name or generic?
Initially, I must have started on brand name because it was Propecia.
Right.
And it was only available.
Okay, and then, but you did switch.
Propecia.
You did switch to generic eventually when you were on it for that long period of time.
At some point, yeah, I went on ProScar and started cutting it into 4.
But that's not generic, where you're taking name brand ProScar and cutting it into 4.
I think not Merck. No, it was probably Teva.
It was
Teva. The
Teva. Okay, so you were actually taking a good generic, one of the few in my my view that really manufactures drugs with the exact molecular structure as the original brand name. That's hard to find. And there's this whole, I think, I told you guys about this book. It's called Bottle of Lies. You should check it out. It really gives you some insight into the generic drug manufacturing process. And just, I mean, you're talking about life-saving drugs that are not saving people's lives, that are supposed to be the same as name brand. So, I mean, it really depends. I mean, it's possible that if you switched to name brand again, or make sure that your finasteride was coming from Teva, that you might not be dealing with these libido issues. We don't know. It's also possible to be that's a combination of your age and the drug. How old are you now?
I just turned 46.
Okay, so you're old. You're fucking old as fuck.
That's right, man.
Yeah, I'm getting old.
Yeah.
Drug. Don't blame the drug.
So, I mean, I'm 54, so I'm older than you, so I could say that.
Are you exercising? Are you eating right? Or did you have a diet soda 3 times today?
No, I'm actually intermittent fasting, like you guys are. I still haven't had my first meal, and it's 6 o'clock here in New York.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
good man.
And I'm gonna break the fast with boiled turkey and.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people break the fast with some good food. I will break the fast with like a Domino's.
No, the caller Nick said he's going to break it with boiled turkey.
Yeah, he did. I'm saying a lot of guys do.
Spinach.
They do it like that. They're eating good food. I have to do that as well. But
oh, you meant healthy food? Okay.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't see anything wrong. And again, we're not physicians. On if you needed to switch to topical finasteride to see it, but I can tell you that it's unlikely you're going to have the same response. We do know that it does work. There's a lot of guys who are doing really well with it. By the way, it's another business I've recently been asked to get into, Joe.
I
Topical?
think I know from who.
I can tell you off the air.
Yeah.
But I mean that shit is that's going to be like crack for middle-aged guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
that Grammy guy.
Well, Graham, Graham killed it, man. Graham's doing really well with it. But yeah, I mean, listen, it doesn't mean you're going to have the exact same reaction. You said you're having a really good response. You have to understand that you are lowering your DHT levels systemically. You're blocking 5-alpha reductase type 2. So you're going to see growth and miniaturization throughout the entire scalp. When you apply anything that's topical, you're really focusing on certain areas of the scalp. And yes, some of it is going to get into your system systemically. So you will have some systemic benefits, but it will not be the same, in my view, as taking the oral drug. Mm-hmm. That's just the way that it is. It's not going to be affecting every hair follicle on your scalp as strongly.
If you're getting reduced side effects, then you're most likely getting reduced efficacy on the positive side. You're reducing the negatives, but you're also reducing the positives. I think it goes hand in hand.
Okay. So I did just get a stash today of topical fin.
Who'd you get it from?
I got it from Dr. Rassman, prescribed it.
So let me ask you a question. So how did it work? So he prescribed it, and then you get it from a compounding pharmacy.
Well, they have their own pharmacy that they sent it to.
Right.
And he said he doesn't make a cut from that pharmacy. It's just, and they shipped it to me today.
So he told you that he's out there selling topical finasteride for free?
No, he charges for the consultation.
Oh, I see. Okay. That's actually smart. I'm writing this stuff down. Listen, I'm writing this stuff down because I'm getting to a point now where I'm almost ready to sell out, and I want to see what the best stuff to work with is. So, you guys,
topical fin would be great. I mean,
yeah,
if it really works.
It does work. It absolutely works. I know guys who've been using it who've had fucking phenomenal results. I mean, would I start with topical fin? Personally, no. I would definitely start with oral finasteride to see if I can tolerate it. And obviously, I've been on it for many years. And that would be my first suggestion. But there's so many people who are unwilling to do that this is a great alternative.
And, I mean, since you're thinking about that, it comes in 3 different versions of liquid, gel, and foam.
Right.
So apparently the gel has a patent, because I spoke to the pharmacist where it came from, that supposedly keeps the drug localized in the scalp. It's probably BS, but that's what she told me. But it came today, and it looks like Mitchum though, and it's kind of hard to put it in your hair when it's you know how Mitchum is.
Yeah, it's like a fucking underarm deodorant gel.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to like if you have a slight diffusing to get it to the scalp without
messing up your fucking hair.
Messing up your fucking hair, yeah.
Getting it all greasy, yeah. That's another thing I hate about topicals. What I would want to do is produce something that is easy to use, and that could possibly make your hair, give your hair a little bit of, give it some styling properties that can be used. Or at the very least, just do it at, something that is done once at night, before bed.
Right, so, yeah, I'm torn again now because, I'm responding really well to the oral, and I don't know if I should even attempt to switch. And
it's up to you. If you really are having these adverse libido side effects, it's possible that you could talk to your doctor about titrating the oral medication to the point where you may still receive benefits and not have any adverse side effects. And give that a shot. And then kind of hold on to your topical finasteride for a while. And if if you see that you're losing ground and you're still having adverse side effects, then it's probably time to switch. You talk to your doctor about that. But
I mean, the thing I also know is once I quit, my libido comes roaring back. So
yeah, and you already sense that. But that's you've been quitting completely. Have you ever lowered your dosage to see how your libido was affected?
I have, but then when I go back, I want to go back on 1 milligram and like properly. I don't want to be experimenting, and I'm at the point again. I can't lose any more ground. Like if I lose more ground, I'm gonna have to own it.
Yeah, but you're experimenting. If you get off of finasteride and you start taking topical finasteride, you're experimenting. You don't know what the fuck is going to happen.
At this point, no, I would be experimenting.
So I guess my point is, you're already taking the drug. Why not lower the dose a little bit? And again, I'm not a doctor, but this is just my logic. Why not talk to your doctor or consider lowering the dose a little bit and see if that helps with the libido? You're still getting the drug in your body, so you're still going to see some benefits from taking the drug. You're probably not just going to go through a shed. It's possible, but it's, I think it's less likely for you to deal with that transitional shed than to get off of the oral medication and then go on topical.
I would agree with that. And I think that before you would switch to the topical, just my experience and the experience of people I've talked to about this is it can work maybe better if you just kind of find the right balance of intake versus side effects for what you're doing now. Like I've talked about this on the show before, like patients that are really scared to death of the side effects, that don't want to try the medication, or those that have been on the medication and have had side effects, I've recommended that they start the medication with a graduated increase of frequency intake until they get to a certain threshold where they might think that they're getting the side effects, or they might actually start getting side effects, and either push through or back off to the previous intake level. So the way it works is start taking 1 milligram every Monday, 4 Mondays in a row for a month. And then if you have no issues, the second month, take it twice a week, Monday and Thursday, every week for a month. If still no issues, then move to Monday, Wednesday, Friday for another month. If no issues, continue until you're every day, or back off to whatever equilibrium you get to between your intake frequency, efficacy for your results, and your side effects. And a lot of people I've told this to, they've come back and said that seems to have worked well for them, where they find that balance. And they've even, I've even had people tell me that by easing themselves into this, they were able to take a higher, not a higher dosage, but a higher frequency of intake than they were before when they just started on it just straight off the bat, 1 milligram per day. So it may work for you, it may not. I mean, I'm not a doctor. This is just an idea I came up with a few years ago, and it seems to work for a lot of people. So it gives you more control. It allows you to have more control and awareness of what's going on with what you're putting in your body and how it's affecting you.
Okay, so you're basically saying doing it intermittently, like start once a week, then twice a week.
That's what I would consider if I were having issues, and that's what, like I said, a lot of people I've talked to have done, and it's worked out for them. So in your case, how often are you taking it now in pill form?
Right now I'm taking it as prescribed, 1 milligram per day, because
okay, it was
I don't want
prescribed
to
1
play
milligram
around.
per day, but are you taking it 1 milligram per day?
They say he's taking it as prescribed.
Okay, all right. So maybe back,
yeah, the 1.25.
maybe back off to 3 days a week instead of every day.
Okay, but at this point, I don't want to lose more ground. I have to get back to. I see I'm responding very well.
You're in a pickle then, because you're caught between switching from oral to topical versus just reducing your oral intake frequency. So both approaches could potentially trigger a telogen effluvium. Once you got this thing going on and you change things, I'm really weary of that kind of thing. Like, I don't have to worry about it so much for myself because everything's transplant, but patients I deal with,
right.
Man, I am really, really anal about that. It's like, you don't introduce anything new for a year. You don't change anything for a year. And when you do change something, only change one thing and don't expect it to go perfectly. Like, you've got the chance for something to happen that you might not be crazy about in the form of a shed.
Okay. I think I'll stick to the oral for now and just get all the ground I can back before I can re-experiment again with something.
Well, like I said, if you want to continue with the oral, I mean that's obviously your decision. Maybe consider maybe taking 1 day out of your routine, or maybe even taking the weekends where you don't take it. Just take it Monday through Friday. Just an idea. I'm not telling you to do this. These are just ideas. Instead of 3 days a week, maybe 5 days a week, but not the weekends. Or do it literally every other day. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday, without missing anything. Just an idea.
Okay. Yeah, I'll keep it in mind. And again, for younger people, I definitely would go back on it again. And, it definitely does help. And the reason I quit was I wasn't sure how much it was helping my hair. But once I got off it, then I realized how much it was helping. So,
well, listen.
On the bright side, I'm enjoying hair again.
Well, that's a good thing. That's what matters. So good for you.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know what you decide to do. I definitely think that you have a less of a possibility. Again, this is just based on experience. We're not doctors. Less of a possibility of going through a telogen effluvium if you start to titrate your medication, meaning lowering the dosage a little bit. You don't have to go to 3 days a week, like Joe said. You don't have to jump to that. You can just skip it once a week and see what happens, and then skip it twice a week. If you don't see any change in your libido. But you are likely to maintain your results because it's still in your body for a long period of time. Plus, you've been taking it for so long. I don't know if you agree with that, Joe, but that's what I would do if I was in his position. And so fucked up about, I would just titrate it as slowly as possible until you reach that balance where, wait a second, I see a young girl and I'm okay. Yeah.
And then I'm thinking maybe like if I stay on the transient again, like
it can be transient.
I
sure.
kind of feel like initially it was a bigger shock when I started again, like every day.
Yeah.
But now it feels like slightly better, not. So.
All right, dude. I get it, but you were thinking about this a lot. You seem like you're okay. And you're about to jump ship in order to use a topical that you're not even sure will work for you, and you're concerned about going through a shed. The common sense approach would be either to wait it out, like you said, and see if it's transient, or slightly lower your dosage. Again, we're not doctors. We cannot give you medical advice, but that's the common sense approach to potentially mitigate any of the issues that you are concerned about. All right, Matt?
Okay.
All right. Good luck.
And you guys say get brand name, pay the premium, and
that's just my opinion. I definitely think that brand name is the way to go.
Because I have a stash of this Teva for now, but eventually with that.
Well, Teva's a good product.
Yeah.
And I see that the new Walgreens is all from India. All the generics.
Yeah, fuck that. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm being honest.
Okay.
Teva it's an Israeli company that has been known to really create some of the best generics with real standards in the world.
Right.
So, if I were to take any generic, that would be the company to go with. And again, when I talk about like other drugs like benzodiazepine or whatever it is, even though I would take brand name, but at least with those drugs, you know exactly what you're feeling right away. Oh, wait a second.
Right.
I'm getting a little fucked up. It seems like it's working. I'm relaxed.
Right.
When it comes to hair,
right,
you
I take
don't
those
know.
too, and I can feel that.
Yeah. Well, that's there you go. And what do you take? Xanax, Valium. I like to live vicariously through other people's drug use.
Alprazolam.
So that's Ativan.
Xanax.
Xanax. Oh, okay, yeah. So you take generic, yeah.
Yeah, but I just take it like at night, right before I go to bed, just to
chill.
Clear my mind. Chill out, yeah, and clear my mind.
Yeah. All right. Well,
and then if I get extremely stressed, some days, rarely once or twice a year, I might take it intraday. But
all right. Well, that's no fun. You're a normal user. I like to hear from guys who like really they're using it all the time. All right, man. I'll talk to you later. Have a good weekend.
All right, guys.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Just trying to get a laugh out of the guy. Jesus.
Kind of difficult.
He did laugh, though. All right, guys. Oh, I love vocabulary through other people's drug use. Vicariously, yeah. I do. I have to live vicariously through other people's drug use because I still have to function in this world. But when I go fishing, when that website goes up, gone fishing, find myself a good doctor, and that's it.
That's all you need, man.
It's better than booze, in my opinion.
That's debatable.
Doesn't make you bloated. No hangovers.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah. And you combine the two? That's terrible. Don't combine benzos and alcohol. You could die, people.
That's
All right, guys, the website's thebaldtruth.com for archives, eventually, of this broadcast. That's thebaldtruth.com. Check out Joe Tillman's personal website, which is hairtransplantmentor.com, for anything and everything. Joe Tillman, hair loss, hair transplant surgery. That is a great resource. And you can learn a lot about Joe's personal journey and why he is who he is. And sitting in the chair next to me virtually doing this broadcast. Don't make me laugh. Let's see. YouTube.com//hair transplant mentor. You want to view this show live? Check it out on Joe Tillman's personal YouTube page. I would love to see that thing reach 20 or 30,000 subscribers in a very short period of time. You guys are listening. You guys are listening across the world currently. There are more people listening right now on iHeartRadio than who are subscribed to Joe Tillman's page. All you people just have to go over there and subscribe. Simple as that. Ring the bell, and then you just go about your lives. It's not a big deal. My Instagram page, at Spencer Kobren, SpencerKobren. Follow me on Instagram, for fucking crying out loud. It's not that difficult. We could save people's lives just by creating more influence on these social media spaces. Something that an old man like me didn't really think much of for years because, yeah, I had to actually get on the fucking radio. I had to actually get published and have an agent and do it old school. The barrier to entry to become an influencer was for fucking real. Now, if you're a kid with enough time on your hands and the wherewithal to make it happen and the drive, all of a sudden you're selling laser caps.
Yes.
Fuck.
Sorry, I'm distracted by chat room.
All right, guys. And Joe's going to give out the other websites that that view this or that allow you guys to view this broadcast.
We'll start off with international-hairlossforum.com, singular, not forums. I said forums last time. International-hairlossforum.com. It's a French hair loss and hair restoration forum. Clinics are sharing their results and patients are sharing their experiences, and they are a big supporter of this program, allowing us to stream live through their web properties. Certainly appreciate it. Check them out. That's international-hairlossforum.com. Next up, we've got bellycapelli.forumfree.it. It's the Italian hair loss and hair restoration forum. Clinics sharing results and patients passionately sharing their results. I say passionately because no patients are as passionate as the Italian patients. You got to read it to understand what I'm saying. It's crazy over there. But great people, great owner that runs the forum, old friend of mine, also supports our message and allows us to broadcast through his web property. That's bellycapelli.forumfree.it. And finally, we've got hairlossexperiences.com, UK-based hair loss and hair restoration forum. Clinics sharing results, patients sharing their experiences, and the owner is also a great supporter of our message and allows us to broadcast through his website. That's hairlossexperiences.com. Check him out.
All right, guys, listen, have a good weekend. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you.